right, folks, and welcome into another edition of This Week in Pearl. I'm your host, Frank Hutton, and excitingly today is our last Under the Dome show. The legislature adjourned last week, so we will have our very special guest in today, Gene Newman and Dean Kirby, where we'll discuss what they did over this past legislative session and how that budget stuff's going to work out. So don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to join them under the dome. So stay right there. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mayor Wyndham, and I'm thrilled to show you the city creating its own future. Pearl is located in Rankin County, the fastest growing county in Mississippi, and there's no question why. Access to great schools, even better shopping, and unbridled beauty make Pearl a town that truly embodies its name. And with a truly exceptional team of first responders, public safety is another key component of our success. With fantastic housing opportunities from quaint suburban neighborhoods to gorgeous lakefront properties, there's a place for you here in Pearl. You can't beat the location. Right outside of Pearl is the crossroads of the South, where Interstate 20 meets Interstate 55. From here you can travel anywhere within the state or the country. Or you can choose to stay right here in Pearl or experience the small town atmosphere, community pride, and heart of the local residents.
Back into This Week in Pearl, where I'm joined by these two wonderful gentlemen, and I use that term specifically, gentlemen. I'm joined by our esteemed colleague over here, Gene Newman, our representative, and Dean Kirby, our Senate Pro Temp. How are you doing this morning?
Cold.
Yeah.
It's cool, isn't it?
No, It's not cool. It's cold.
Oh, it's cool. Come on.
When it gets in the 40s, that's
It was
cold.
85 last week, now it's 40. It's cold.
You know, we're going to have at least one more. You know,
I don't want to hear it.
You know,
Let's get on to 95.
Snow any day now.
It'll be snowing tomorrow.
It's snowing in West Texas right now. So
Oh boy, is it really?
it was yesterday. I don't know about
No
this morning.
kidding. It was a little brisk this morning.
No, it was cold.
Anyway, it's nice and pretty green. I love seeing all the stuff. I've managed to suffer through all the pollen. I think maybe the rain has managed to knock that down a little bit.
Oh, we've had the rain.
We have. That's definitely something we're not in need of right now.
I mean, we've got areas flooding right now.
Right. So which was going to bring us to our first topic. We've had some more storms come through. Now, Tennessee and Kentucky and those areas have just been devastating.
Arkansas.
Arkansas
And Tennessee.
I know, right?
Lake
horrible.
City, Arkansas.
But our North Mississippi
Jonesboro.
citizens,
Yeah, we got flooding and tornadoes up there again. Apparently we had a tornado last night down around Bay Springs somewhere too. So but this is April in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
When it turns warm, you get another cold front. You're gonna have storms. That's where we live.
If the showers bring flowers, April showers bring May
flowers.
flowers, we ought to
Should
have
also
a
bring-
beautiful May.
we should have a beautiful May. I mean, it's really, and I'm kind of talking about this because you guys fund MEMA, and I guess MEMA's pretty healthy right now. I mean, they're able to absorb some more of this up there in North Mississippi, because it seems like they spent a lot of time up there lately.
Yeah.
With the tornadoes and now the flooding.
Well, Yazoo City. I mean, when they say
Yes.
tornado, you think Yazoo
Well,
City now.
they're in Tornado Alley, are they not?
Really?
They get hit all the time. But I mean, with MEMA funding, and I want to have the director on so we can kind of talk about that, because
That'd be
Gene,
good.
you alluded to the Colorado study. You want to tell everybody?
So I heard this morning on the radio that they were talking about hurricanes and the percentages probability, and they said that this year there's a 33% chance of a major hurricane, a Category 3 or above, hitting Mississippi. Now it's normally around 27%, but it's been 20 years this year since Katrina, and the pro tem always says you're gonna get a major storm every 20 years down there.
That you can look back, and that's where it's been.
You know, so
this is it. This is the year.
This is the year. So we, you know, whether it actually hits this year or next year, we don't know, but we know that the probability is going up.
33% is pretty good odds.
Well, I mean, Katrina was 3 when it came through our area.
Oh, I know.
It did major damage.
I
It was a
remember watching the
Category
Crystal
3 when it
sign
came
out
through
here.
Rankin.
I was coming from my Brandon office when I worked for Nextel then, and I was driving home, and the Crystal sign on 80 was just,
Oh yeah.
and then finally it ripped it down. But I mean, it was wild to watch.
Yeah, I was going down to Airport Road that day, actually toward Flowood, and a huge garbage can comes rolling across in front of me on the road. It was raining so hard I could barely see. And then I looked above it, and a limb was going the other direction above it. And I thought, okay, it's time to U-turn and go home.
Time to go a different direction.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a geography changing event, just like Katrina was.
Oh yeah.
It just devastated the coastal.
We just got to pray that we don't have anything like that again.
Are we a little more prepared for that this time, would you say?
You're never prepared for it. You think you are.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, we're more prepared than what we've been
Oh
in a
yeah.
while.
As far as communications and those type things, I think we're way better off than we were back then. But like Gene said, I don't know that you can ever get
And
rid of
it's been 20 years. You got a lot of people living down there that haven't experienced it, that they don't know what it's about,
Right.
and they're not going to leave when it comes time.
No, and the building codes have changed on the coast, so being more prepared in that sense, yes, I think the cities and county and their building code and the mitigation program that they have, and I think it's going to make a big difference, but it's still, like you say, you have 25-foot waves come over your house.
Everything in its path is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, here again, I alluded working in Nextel. Back in the day, back then, 20 years ago, we had cameras on tower sites and things of that nature. And I remember watching our Bay St. Louis camera, which Ocean Springs and some of those others I was watching, and then I wasn't. It was there, and then it was gone. And you went to those locations, and you did good if you found the concrete slab. There were
right.
some places where the slabs were gone.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right.
that's an intense amount of hydraulic pressure.
Yep.
I mean, it was just gone. There was just nothing there. So I mean, I can't imagine a 20-year having that happen again.
Well, I think this
in my
time,
lifetime.
I think we're more prepared too. They can tell now, thanks to computers and all, whether the damage to a house is done by the wind or the water.
Or the water. Right.
And that was a big issue last time on the coast. Did it wash the house away, or did the wind blow it away before the waves came?
Right.
Now they can actually, I think they know.
We'll hold our breath. I know it's probably inevitable. It's going to happen.
Yes.
I can assure you there's a lot down there that don't have flood insurance because it's so expensive.
Yeah,
Is it not mandatory in the States? You have to have
And
flood
then
insurance?
and through National Flood, you can only buy $250,000. Well, most of those homes on the beach are worth way more than
Obviously,
$250,000.
way more than that.
So they want it to be wind if they have a total loss.
If they have a total loss, not rain, or I mean, not a wave. Right. Okay, so you fellas adjourned, and we need a budget. So who wants to take that one up first? What happens now? We got to have a budget. So what happens now?
We will have a budget. We couldn't agree on some things. I think some projects maybe for the cities and counties was part of that problem. We couldn't agree on those projects. And of course, Gene and I put in for project money as well for Pearl. As a matter of fact, we both have bills for that. We couldn't agree on that and couldn't agree on a few other things, and so it held up the whole process. But now that we've actually Sonny died, we've left. It's up to the governor to call us back into a special session. I think he will do that. I know he'll do that. But more than likely he'll get with the lieutenant governor, the speaker, and the chairman from both sides, and he'll say, okay, when you guys work this out, call me and I'll call a special session. I'm sure that's what he has in mind. If you don't work it out, then you have to have a budget before July the 1st. So I'm going to call one, I would say probably in June. And at that point, then the pressure is on and we have to have a budget. And we will. This isn't the first time that's happened, by the way. It happened, I'm trying to remember, maybe Phil Bryant was lieutenant
Yep,
governor.
Phil Bryant.
Yeah, and we couldn't agree then, and we called back. They'd worked it out, had everything ready when we got back, and we went to town. Now, everyone wasn't happy with it, and everyone's not going to be happy with what comes out this time, but I think, again, back to the making sausage, the end result's good. And I think the majority of the people will be happy. We were not that far apart, to be honest with you. They were very, very close to doing it. We just ran out of time.
Okay.
So,
Well, we didn't actually run out of time.
well, we had till Sunday.
we just decided we was going to leave. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, we left a few days early. We left Thursday, I believe
we
it
left
was.
Wednesday. You know, this is why we left early. The house is the wild bunch. We want to push things and get things done early, sooner, do it our way. The Senate is traditional. They do things
Deliberate.
very deliberative. They do things a certain way. They follow the rules that they've always followed. They do it the way they've always done it, and you know, if that's the way you're going to do it, that's the way you're going to do it. But you know, we just tried to force our hand and try to make them do it the way we wanted to do it, and blew up in everybody's faces.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to study it and study the study committee.
Yeah.
And before we
We're
come
going to have
out.
another committee that's going to be studying the committee that studied the committee.
And we're going to make sure that this is the way it should be done
Right,
before we
and
do
the
it.
House is
The wild bunch.
the Wild Bunch.
Well,
Little renegades.
I'm not saying that.
Well, you know, the reality of it is, when Speaker White got elected Speaker, he promised that he would try to make the budget open and so everybody would have time to read it and so everybody would have time to see it before it come out. And you know, that I think that's what he's in the way he was doing it, that's what they were trying to do. They obviously don't like the conference weekend, but that's the way the Senate's always done it, and that's so
Yeah,
you just had some people that wanted to change and some people that didn't. So
I see.
it
So
train
now-
got off the tracks and we couldn't get it back
And
on.
now we have a special session tonight.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, but wait, let me say this about this special session.
Okay.
Because all the news media is saying, oh, it's going to cost $100,000. Let me tell you something. They didn't use all their days. We didn't use all our days.
No.
It ain't going to cost much of nothing because the money's
It's
that
already
still
in the
there
budget.
is for us to do it. You know, we got I think we've got 5 days left that we didn't use, and they've got more than that.
Oh, we got probably 10.
Really?
Yeah, because they were not meeting on a lot of Fridays.
Okay.
They had a lot more lawyers, so they have to have more time. Those lawyers have time.
Well,
to go back.
percentage-wise, we have more. I don't know we have more, but we have
But they-
percentage-wise,
yeah, they-
52.
So a special session this time,
Well, not
you will still use the days until they're used
That is
up.
correct.
Yeah.
That were budgeted and appropriated for this legislative
that
session.
is correct.
So they really
the cost will be minimal.
Yeah,
will
it's the
be-
same as if, had we stayed till Sunday.
I got you. But if it were to go longer, obviously then you would start incurring some costs.
Well, we can't go longer when we come back, because if we go too long, I mean, we only got till July 1.
We
And
only
at
got June the 30th.
Or June 30th at
30th.
midnight, yeah.
Right.
And if we don't do it by then,
governor
the
gets to do
governor
it.
does the budget, so
Has that ever happened before?
I don't think so.
I
in
don't
history.
know, but it would be.
He doesn't have the
He would have a good
staff.
time with it.
He would have LBO and all of our staff and all your staff over
Right.
there trying to help him.
Trying to figure it out. But I mean, that would just not be a good scenario.
No,
No.
No, it would
but
not
he'd
be
have a
good.
good time with it. because he cut some stuff he wanted to cut.
Well, he'd like to do it in theory.
Right, right. I get it, but I mean, it would just not be. Everybody wants the budget to be finished, and
Well, the budget's supposed to be done by the legislature.
it's
We need
supposed
to do our job.
and you guys will get that done. I mean, this,
Yeah.
as you alluded to, this has happened before,
Yes.
and will
Yeah.
happen again.
It will. It will.
So it's just nothing to panic over.
No,
I mean, I don't
it's,
think anybody's
No, it's just business.
business. The government's business.
It's just
Yeah.
it's just business.
If we were full-time, like in Washington, we'd do a temporary budget.
Right, you would do a continuing resolution.
I think Greg Harper told me he was there 8 years and he never voted for a permanent budget.
Oh, isn't that crazy?
We don't do
Go
it that
go
way
all the way
here.
back to Bill Clinton and Newt
Of course,
Gingrich.
we do other things differently from Washington too. We balance our budget every year. We don't have deficits. We don't have a $36 trillion deficit.
And I think the federal government should get to that too.
I
Without a
wish they
doubt.
would.
I wish they would.
I
Now,
wish they would.
doubt it, but I wish they would. They need to make that part of the Constitution. We need a constitutional amendment that makes it where they have to have a balanced budget every year, period, full stop. There needs to be one. Everybody else lives within a budget. Why can't they?
Yeah.
Most of the states do.
That's right. Even down into their own wallets,
Yeah.
they live within a budget. I mean,
That's right.
now granted, they somehow miraculously go to Washington as paupers and they come out as
I don't know how to do that.
multi-millionaires.
Well, I don't know. I know their pay is a lot more than ours.
Of course it is. But we won't even go down that road. All right, so one of the things that we kind of talked about in this budget, people ask me about all the time, PERS. Now, we've talked about how you set the fifth tier. You know, after March 1 of next year, everybody's going to the fifth tier. Got all that part. But what about the current system right now and funding? That's what I hear the most about. And in the budget, you guys, both of y'all have something the House has and the Senate has, but I think y'all are pretty much in agreement on this, right?
Yeah. Well, again, you can only go by actuaries and experts, and our actuaries and experts say over the period of time, this is like a 30-year deal. It's not like something starting next year. We're going all at once, you know, everything's going to be wonderful. We've had a retirement system for several years, and it's taken to now to do it. Now, there's all kind of ways you could have changed that and funded that, but I can tell you current employees and retirees would not have liked
Right.
what would had to have been done. So, but we had to do something, and we came up with this Tier 5. I'm sorry, we didn't come up
I
with
was
Tier
going to say,
5.
wait a minute, who come up with it? I don't think we did that. I
The
think that was-
retirement board came up with Tier 5. Last year, as you remember, everyone said, leave our retirement board alone. Don't put those people on there that, you know, the governor's people or the lieutenant governor's people or whoever appointed. We want to elect them and we want our people, and we left it alone. Now this year, those same people are saying, don't listen to the retirement board because they made the recommendations on Tier 5 and we took their recommendations. And, but it'll work out. We have charts showing, again, by actuaries that those people that are on Tier 5 actually could end up being better off in the end than the current ones.
Right.
Now, people don't believe that, but I mean, we've got the facts and figures, and it shows that it will work out, and yet the state will be headed in the right direction and will be able to continue to pay the retirement for existing retirees. So, and that's not going to change. As Gene says, we are not going to change.
Well, what did y'all put in the budget, Gene, since he alluded to you about funding it? Talk about some gaming
so the
money.
last 2 years, we've put $100 million a year. Last
That's
year,
right.
first year was $100 million. Last year was like $110 million.
That's right.
And it's my understanding there was an agreement that they were going to put $200 million in it this year, and I think that they will still do that whenever we do
And
the
then
budget.
$100 million a year
Yeah,
after that.
For like what, the next 5 years?
but we're going to have
or
to see.
just
We
under.
got to see what the reality is. We got to see what we have to see what the projection is going to be with Tier 5 put in place.
Okay.
You know, the projection that it was going to be $25 billion in the hole 30 years from now, is based on the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you're changing that, so that's going to change that some, and we're going to have to see what that does to it.
Okay. So with the last 2 years, been 100 million, and then 110, and then this year's you've increased it to 200 million.
Well, that's
And that's coming from.
And our
that's-
plans are to put $100 million a year into it until it starts showing a profit
Again,
or until we get to the 80% funded.
right, and then pause.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you come back every year. It's not like we can't fix it.
Anything we do can be changed next year. So
Right, and I believe, and Gene, you've even alluded to this, that nobody's going to leave the retirees that have worked for their retirement.
Oh, no.
Nobody's going to hurt them.
no.
Well, don't forget the legislature's in it too.
Right.
Yeah. So is
nobody-
the governor and the lieutenant governor.
So nobody's
All
going to
the
hurt.
statewide
Nobody's
officials.
going to hurt them.
Right.
No.
No, we want to leave it like it is.
Yes.
As long as it can possibly sustain itself,
Well,
Yeah, and it will.
Yeah.
and it will.
No doubts it will.
It will. It just seems to be the hot. It is the hottest topic when you start messing with
Yeah.
everybody's money.
Oh,
then
yeah.
that's.
But we've been hearing for years that people, and some, even right now that are under the current deal, they would like to change it. Employees, a lot of them would like to say, or will say, we want that Tier 5.
Oh, I've
The
even
one under
alluded to that.
existing
I mean,
program.
like,
We want to invest our money. We don't
Yeah,
want you
right,
investing
right.
our money, or half of it.
Mhm.
So, it's, we don't know. You never know.
No.
Again, we don't know what's happening in Washington. And of course, being the deliberate body, we're trying to be very careful there. And I'm sure they are as well, to make
Right.
sure that that our retirement system is sound.
Well, you mentioned that the governor had a press conference the other day, after you guys signed he died. And one of the things that he was talking about in his press conference was Mississippi's economic growth. And he should talk about it. I mean, it's been tremendous. Our economic performance, and I'll just go back because I'm going to pull this up. Just in 2024, based on GDP data, according to the U.S. Department of Commerce Bureau of Economic Analysis, Mississippi ranks second in the nation for real GDP growth in 24.
Yes.
Second in the nation. Now that's probably not being talked about a whole lot in the
No.
national media, but second in the nation. That's the state's real GDP adjusted for inflation was 4.2%.
Yeah.
If you don't adjust, it's 6.7. Now what does that mean in dollars? That's 1.27 billion just in a year difference between 23 and 24. That's
We're heading in
good.
the right direction.
And then the growth rate, if you take it unadjusted, was 2.58 billion.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, that's massive. And of course, the governor should tout that. I agree. And
Well, it's his doing.
yeah.
I mean, you can say we've passed some great laws since Republicans took charge in both houses in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of laws. There's been a lot of positive change made in tax structures. We've reduced taxes. We've done a lot of things to bolster businesses. But the growth that you're seeing right now, you can put it on Governor Reeves' head, because the team that he's put together I mean, he's like laser focused on growing the economy in Mississippi.
Well,
I mean, we don't talk about it, but we've had increases in salaries for everyone except the legislature,
Teachers, public
but
safety.
everyone, and we've paid off over $1 billion, not $1 million, $1 billion in debt during the last few years. So we're headed in the right direction. There's no doubt about it. But you don't hear about the great things and the good things that we do. You only hear about things that are questionable and people worried that they're not going to get this or not going to get that. But overall, the legislature and our leadership in both the House and the Senate, they've done a really good job.
which is exactly what I was alluding to. I mean, the governor, and I think you said, Gene, that yes, he's driving force behind a lot of this, but he's getting some help.
Oh yeah,
From the legislature, and the way you guys are working together. And I'm only mentioning this because we're talking about PERS funding. We're talking about tax breaks for Mississippians. We're talking about reducing the grocery tax. All these things that you guys have been able to do, this is just one piece of that pie. If you look at it from a 30,000 foot view, which is what your guys and your actuaries and everybody are trying to do to figure out how are we, what's the budget look like next year? Because in this state, constitutional, we have to have balanced budget. So this is just one part of it.
That's right.
And I mention that because look at a 5-year trend. It's still positive over 5 years. We've had some ups and downs coming through COVID. We had pretty low GDP. Now, it's never been in the negative, but it's been low. And I think we've averaged, if you look at over a 5-year period, 1.67% based off of all the GDP numbers. That's still pretty good. I think that puts us about 28th or 30th somewhere if you look at it on a 5-year. But 1 year of just explosion, what is that telling us? I mean, is that manufacturing? I mean, because the two big movers were manufacturing and agriculture.
Well, agriculture's hurting so bad right now.
Yeah, they're
The timber
suffering.
business is getting killed by the cheap Canadian imports.
Canadian imports.
Yeah, and the regular farmers are through the droughts and stuff that they've had. And I say regular farmers, I'm talking about row crop guys.
Right, you're talking about crop guys.
Yeah, the droughts that we've had the last couple of years.
And flooding, right?
And well, it's one or the other. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, we may have some of that soon.
So
Flooding.
they've been struggling real bad, and they're competing with real cheap imports from overseas. So agriculture's had a lot of issues. So
Do we classify like seafood in the agricultural side or no?
I know that catfish is agricultural. I'm
Right,
pretty
that's what I
sure.
was
I'm not
asking,
sure
is-
about seafood.
Is Gulf Coast seafood
I
considered agriculture?
I don't know, but I honestly don't know the answer
don't
to
either.
that.
I don't either.
But catfish is farming,
Yes.
and we get hammered by
Vietnam.
Asian
Yeah,
fish.
cheap. We don't know what it is. Fish.
Right.
I don't have a clue how it's
They call
grown.
it catfish, but it
But
might
we're
not
going
be.
to find out. We're going to find out because
We
we
already-
got some-
We'll cover that in just a second. but yes, we get hammered and not to talk about the federal government and Trump, but the tariffs that he's imposing on the Asian market
Yeah.
will help our farmers.
So what the growth that you're seeing is manufacturing and data driven, digital data driven.
The data centers,
The data centers.
which come into Mississippi.
Manufacturing like PACCAR, the big truck industries. It's northeast Mississippi, and they're building that huge battery.
Milwaukee Tool,
Milwaukee
the
Tool, and all
steel
the stuff.
plant.
The steel and
Steel.
aluminum plants.
Right.
Nucor Steel.
Yeah.
All the stuff that they're doing. So yeah.
There's a lot happening.
and I think
All over the
and
state.
the tax breaks, the tax incentives that you guys have passed, it's only going to fuel.
Oh,
that.
yeah. Hope so.
We hope so,
Yeah,
right?
that's the-
It should
that's
fuel
the
more
intent.
companies
Purpose of
wanting
it.
to come in here. And then on the education front, how do you guys feel about that money just coming from Washington and no more Department of Education? Is that better for us, for our economy and being able to grow Mississippi? Is it better to be able to turn Chris Chisholm loose, or,
Well,
what do you think?
I trust him,
Right,
but
Which
I'm
is
not
where I
sure
was-
about some of them in other counties. I don't know. I
I mean, we always have
that's not up to me.
MDE, obviously, but I mean, that's not
Yeah,
going
so that's my
anywhere.
question: is how is this money going to be? Is it going to be funneled through the state? Is it going to be funneled straight into some of these counties? Because if it's going to be funneled straight into some of these counties, it's probably going to be a problem.
That'd be concerning.
And
Right,
of course,
straight
Trump,
into the
Trump
district.
says we will get more money by doing away with the,
I can see
the
that.
Department of Education. I don't know.
I could see that. I mean, when you're
That's
talking-
above my pay grade too.
Well,
so-
right, but I mean, it would seem to me, just from what we know now, that it would make sense. We would get more money, and then MDE would be able to allocate that out a little better. And then where I'm going with that is being able to turn Chris Chisholm loose to where he can actually train people,
Oh,
these
yeah.
kids growing for these data center jobs, for the manufacturing sector. Makes sense to me as a whole. Looking at it, as a-
Education has changed so much in the last few years.
Hasn't it?
For the better. For the better. And our students are doing great. And so we've got good public and private schools, or independent schools, I think they're called now, instead of private schools. I'm real proud of our schools, but especially of our administration and the children. I mean, they've done such a good job. You know, you think about school, well, you say, what do you think about so-and-so? Oh, they won state last year. Well, good for them. Now, how about the
How
school?
about the school? Right. What's the scores
That's
look
just
like?
a part of it. They go to school to learn, and I think our kids are. And I think we've made laws that enforce that, and our administrators at schools are doing a good job, especially in Rankin and
Oh,
Pearl
yeah,
School
here?
District. Yeah.
Absolutely here. Absolutely. Here.
Every teacher would like to teach here.
Right. And kids want to go to school here.
Yeah.
Yes. I totally agree with that. All right. So we kind of alluded to it just a second ago. And this is kind of our closing out our Under the Dome because the legislative session's over. We've had some wins. We've had
Yes.
some wins. We've had some really good wins. We just talked about the tax breaks for our citizens. That was huge. I mean, they're
It
going to start
is.
seeing that July 1 with the grocery tax. That'll be
That's right.
immediate.
That's right.
Now also the
The
fuel
income
tax
tax
is
and-
on there, but
Well, the fuel tax, how do you know if it's, I mean, it changes every day.
fuel is going
Not the
down.
tax, but
right.
the fuel
The
cost.
cost of oil is going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
hope
then the
it
price of
continues.
gas is going up. Explain that one.
I can't. Maybe on another show. But that was a win.
Yes.
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 For Mississippians.
Yes.
And if you want to fix the typo, you can fix it next year. Right?
That's right.
Not really.
That trigger really doesn't make a lot of difference, but it does make a difference. Just like he said, the deliberate body over there, we wanted to make sure we had the money before. But the money is coming in, and hopefully it'll continue to come in, and we'll be okay. So.
Well, it looked like based off of the numbers.
But that's it, not until 2030.
2030. doesn't it?
2030. So it's plenty of time to fix
We
all
got-
that.
we got
plenty
plenty
of time
of
to
time.
fix all that. But we
Yeah.
had some other wins. And we talked about the labeling of food.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the Vietnam fish and
Yeah.
all that. So that passed this year, right?
It
That's
did. The seafood has to tell what country it's from and what it is.
And that's on the grocery store shelf and in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So you
And-
go in,
and
you
then-
go in
yeah.
a restaurant and you want to order a tilapia or catfish.
It'll say from Taiwan or Vietnam or China or whatever, or
Mississippi.
Or
or Mississippi. You know, speaking of that, I was in Washington one time and I went to a restaurant and on the menu was Mississippi catfish,
cool.
which I thought was pretty cool.
That is cool. I mean, I like that personally. I would much rather,
Yeah.
keep our tax dollars as close to home as possible. If I can shop in Pearl, I do. If I have to go outside of Pearl, I will, but I would rather stay here.
Well, the other thing one of those bills did was it fixed it where you know that if you're going to buy a steak, that it's a real steak, not something they grew in a
Oh, it's
lab.
not artificial
It's
food.
not. It's not Bill Gates' artificial
Well,
meat.
Right.
yeah, there's some fish they catch out in the Gulf that they grind up and sell for crab meat, as
Right,
an example.
they-
Well, that you can't do that anymore.
Well,
It's
what
got-
I'm talking about is the fake meat.
Oh yeah. Well, there is plant-grown fake meat now that people are selling for beef or whatever, or pork.
I like
or-
my beef plant made too. The good old moo cow.
Yeah.
Right, cow eats the plant. I
Yeah.
eat the cow.
That's
I don't want the plant turning
Yeah.
into my
Yeah, so
my
we-
green burger.
So you're right. We've passed some good laws to protect
Right,
the
that's
people.
one. I mean, that's truth.
You know, that was
truth,
like two different
truth,
bills.
truth in labeling, right?
Yes.
Is that what y'all called it?
Yes.
But something else that I know that near and dear to everybody is this. You gave a lot of money to cities and counties for fire.
We did. Well, actually, we gave $12 million extra. In
On
addition,
top of.
in addition to their normal, they got $12 million for the fire departments, rural and municipal. So, we feel good about that because, well, first off, it saves lives. That's number one. The other thing is that if you have, according to your grade, fire rating grade in your town or county, it affects your homeowner's insurance and how much you pay. So the better the fire departments, the better the town grade or the municipal or county grade, I should say, and the lower your insurance, the homeowner.
So through state.
And the homeowners have gone up so much, and you know
Yeah.
why, because of all the
Oh, of course.
everything from
Wildfires, flooding, and all kind of problems.
everything.
Now, so it's 12 million in addition to what you were already putting.
Yeah,
in
and
there.
I don't know, I can't remember. Can you,
what that
how much
number
we
is,
gave?
but- So-
A big number we give.
So that's a
And-
grant, so they can apply for that,
Sure. Yeah, and
just like they have in
and of
the
course
past,
there's
but there's just
federal
more
money,
there.
and there's also federal money for those fire
Sure.
departments. So yeah,
But that's great because then they can update equipment.
absolutely, and that's a big issue with Pearl. They have always had the best of the best equipment, and they say the best of the best firemen, and they do have good
We
firemen.
do.
And they have really good, modern, updated equipment. So,
Mm-hmm.
and well, all of Rankin does.
Yeah, I think we have a great fire rescue. It's the groups, the smaller towns that just don't have the tax base, that don't have the business or any of that. I can think of several little towns that we've reached out to that we're helping,
That's
with
right.
stuff that we have to give them. But they just don't have the tax. This helps them.
Absolutely.
This is geared for them, not for
Yes.
us. It's geared for them.
Well,
Yeah, I would say
it'll help
a
us.
little-
It'll help
it
us
helps a little
stay.
bit. Right. It
We
helps
won't
us.
go backwards. We'll continue to go. But as someone told me, a fire truck that 5 years ago was $550,000, $850,000 now.
Oh yeah, it's $1 million
So-
easy. I mean, we just bought a new one, and it was $1.2 million.
Yeah, according to the type truck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a ladder truck. It's going on the east end, but it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it helps our fire rating.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
And that helps everyone,
Yes.
inside the city. It's a great thing. Gene, y'all passed something also as well. That's streamlining technology.
That's correct.
So what's that all about?
So right now, there's a lot of state agencies out there that have a server sitting over in the corner that
In the bathroom.
somewhere over the corner that their data's on, and when you go into their website to try to get information, it's kind of like clunky and slow. So
Right.
we're requiring it all to be cloud-based, to put it all in the cloud and improve the way their functionality is. It's to help the citizens be able to contact or whatever they're dealing with, to be able to make it a lot easier and a lot better.
Make it more efficient
Yeah.
is really what that bill is designed to do.
Good bill.
To just make IT infrastructure more efficient.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't hear about all these bills we agree on. In fact, you only hear about the ones we disagree.
The ones we disagree on,
Yeah,
right?
which is a small number, percentage-wise,
Right.
honestly.
Right. So I mean, ITS probably will oversee all of that, right?
What
How-
one of them, I don't know.
Right. But all the different agencies, I know all the different agencies have their own IT infrastructure, and they kind of all do their own thing. And this is where you guys,
I think this puts it all together.
this puts it all together and kind of says, hey, look, you've got to get into the 21st century.
Yeah.
No more bathroom servers with 30,000 emails on it. Got it. No, I got it. Everybody can kind of relate to that. That makes a lot of sense. A couple other things you guys did, work program for prisoners
Yeah.
and money. Explain that one.
Well, actually, that started in Rankin County. Our sheriff started that work program, and it's worked out tremendously because the prisoners basically it's a nonviolent type, trustee type people that go out and work, and we've extended or expanded that so that they will have more workers to help the cities and the counties and whatever we need. But anyway, they will pay a percent of what they're paid
For working.
For working, yeah, and plus they get the 30 for 30
Right.
work days while they're in
Actual
prison.
dollars.
Yeah, but and the actual dollars, it goes to it has to go to their dependents, or it goes to the Department, I think, of Child Protection Services.
If they owe a fine that comes out, if they owe restitution that comes out,
Yeah,
they pay.
that's right.
The rest of the money goes to them in the form of there's a certain amount of it gets put into a savings account for them to have when they get out. A little bit of it goes into their canteens or for personal stuff on there, but the money, the whole purpose of doing it is so that when that person gets out of prison, they can get out. They can go buy a car. They can go rent an apartment or go rent a house or whatever it is they need. They can actually know where to start life. So these people are working regular, for the most part, are working regular type jobs. They're working. Some of them may be working for restaurants. Some of them may be working some of them are working as auto mechanics. Some of them are working as welders. In other words, they're doing regular type work, and the money that they're making is going to pay their debts that they owe,
child support,
and it's going to put a fund in so that they can have money when they get out.
So
it's basically a way. It's just adding on to like work release.
Yeah,
it is.
Really.
That's basically what it is.
And it's building up a little bit more of a savings for them to get on their feet once they are no longer sleeping at the jail.
And it helps other people while they're working, whether it be the family or child protection.
So it truly is more on the line of a rehabilitation type.
It
That's
is.
the purpose of it.
And
Hopefully,
hopefully,
punishments type. It's really
and then hopefully we'll have the people coming back into prison because of that.
recidivism.
Yes.
Right. I have no idea what that rate is. Didn't look it up because
It's not as high as it used to be. I looked at.
But on this program, it's almost nil. It's less than 2%.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow. I have a little bit direct experience with that. We've talked about it with Jackson Communications. They actually had somebody on this program.
Yeah.
That once he was done, they hired him full time.
Yeah, that's I
the
mean,
purpose.
most of these guys that's worked someplace, they've gone to where they just
Yeah, I
kept
mean,
right on
they
working right
invested
there.
in him. They sent
Yeah.
him to
Yep.
schools. They've sent him to get certifications, and he's thriving. He's doing well. Now, of course, obviously we're human beings and we all fail and sin, but I mean, he's doing well. Last time I talked to Bill,
That's great.
and that's great. I mean, but this is so y'all expanded this program. 25, as you said, dependents will start getting some money, child protective services for like paying child support. So it's really kind of making you a productive member of society.
It
Correct.
is.
And showing you how to do it.
Yeah, this
You
was
just sleep at the jail.
That's right.
Is that, basically, you sleep at the jail.
You're still in prison.
You're right. You're still in prison, but there's hope.
yeah, because when you're paroled and you're released, then you have some way to support yourself when you get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. And then one of the last ones we talked about is a grant that y'all did for cities and counties for property cleanup.
Blighted property.
Blighted
type.
properties.
Yeah, we did a bill that, and I don't remember if it was a House bill, Senate bill. It doesn't matter. But yeah, up to, I'm trying to think, is it 12 million? I think it's what it is. But anyway, that we're putting aside for cities. For blighted properties, you can get $2,000. You apply for each one, and you get the state will pay up to $2,000 to the city to tear down that property or whatever. And of course, we don't have a lot of that here, but a lot of the older cities
That's
do.
right.
The city of Jackson has a lot of it. And so, it's no limit on it until the money runs out.
Right, obviously.
But it's $2,000 per application, I guess you could say, or per grant.
And I think
That'll help.
That's a great thing, especially for cities
Oh, yeah.
that have older buildings that are condemned, you can't rehab, that will cost way too much money.
Yeah, and
Nobody wants to.
And I think every city probably has some, but some have a lot more than others.
Some have more than others, and then the city or the county can come in and clean all of that up.
Yes,
And then that makes that property now viable again for
absolutely.
new use, rezoned, whatever it may be.
Clean it up. Clean it up.
These are all the good things that we don't get to talk about a whole lot.
I know.
We're talking about taxes and retirement and
Well, whatever the press decides we're going to talk about that year, yeah.
right.
But they don't tell about the planes that land safely.
No, they don't. They don't. So who
Only the ones that crash.
who is the winner this year of the chicken jar?
I don't know who wound up with it. I haven't successfully had that thing yet. So
You've avoided it. And the gold thumb.
The last gold thumb, I think, went to a former House member, Scott Delano from the coast, because when he went to the podium, he said, "Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House," and started speaking. Boo! And boy, they ran to his desk with the thumb and put it down on his desk. The thumb's about this tall, gold thumb.
Right.
So yeah. So the next time he came to the speaker, to the podium, he said, "Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate." He said it very clearly. So yeah, I think he maybe was the last one to
He
get
was
the
the
thumb.
last recipient of the gold
Yeah.
thumb.
And I was presiding when he did that, and I got so tickled I couldn't hardly preside. But yeah, it was fun.
Well, that's been a lot of fun. I have been asked, because a lot of people just don't know those things, and I have been asked. That's why I want to. Who's the winner of the chicken?
You don't
jar
remember
this
who
year?
got the chicken last?
Well, it's 2 jars, and I don't remember who had them. I don't know who got them last, because those last few days it was kind of.
It was wild.
It was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is you haven't had it.
I haven't had it.
Well, I got it once.
You got it once.
I got it once when I was actually presiding, and over the Senate, and the back windows are open, and it's a glare. You
Sure.
cannot, from up at that podium, you know, under the lights and all that.
Right.
You're looking, and there was this big guy back in the back was raising his hand, and I called him Senator Jackson, and it wasn't Senator Jackson. He sat on the other side, but it was Senator Carter actually from the coast, and so they all laughed because one's a Republican, the other one's a Democrat, and they really don't look anything alike, other than a silhouette on a window.
They did to you that day.
I got it that day. Yeah,
And you got
that
the-
was last year, I think.
Wow.
And that's the only time I've gotten it. I probably should have gotten it the other times, but I didn't.
So it's been fun.
Oh, yeah, we have fun,
It's
but we
been
get
fun.
very serious, and
Yeah.
there were no fist fights that I know of on either side, so we ended up
Yeah.
okay.
Nobody actually threw any punches this year, did they? No. No fights this year.
No,
Not
no.
yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Well, I mean, I understand people, like I say, I've used analogy of football where you get the ball on the 20 and you drive all the way down to the 1 and you can't score.
Right.
And you get mad because you can't score. And it's the same thing with passing legislation. You get all the way to the goal line and then you just can't get the
get it.
conference committee or the House or Senate committee to agree at the end, and your bill dies. And it's frustrating when you work so hard to
Yeah.
get it.
Right. Especially over the years to get these bills
Yeah.
moved forward. You
Now,
said-
Gene, this year, I think every bill he introduced, he passed.
No, he didn't. I
you had a
one. I passed one that
You had
I
a-
actually sponsored.
you have a
I was
bunch.
co-sponsored on some others, but
Well, we passed that one like that,
yeah.
too.
Yeah. Y'all had a bunch. I mean, you had a bunch
Yeah.
that
You
you were not only co-sponsored but just your own.
Yeah, I had a bunch of them.
You had a bunch of them.
It's you get them plates in the air. It's hard to keep them up there.
And you got to
Easy
work,
it's easy to spin them up, but it's hard to keep them up.
and then because you got to work all of them with all the different committees.
Right.
And,
And all the committees somehow meet at the same time. You know, if you got 4 bills and all, you know, there's 4 different committees and they all meet at the same time, you can only do so much.
You know, Frank, I have a little plaque deal on my front of my desk that says "Trust the Chairman," and you have to. You have to trust. That's why it's important to have the right chairman appointed to these different committees. When you've got we've said before, over 3,000 bills, and they're this thick, front and back, legal size.
Right.
You can't read all those in 90 days. It's impossible, and you have to depend on good people being good chairmen. And it doesn't take you long to realize which ones you can trust and which one do their homework and know that they're doing the right thing. So you have to trust your chairman. That doesn't mean I vote for every bill that comes out by any means,
right.
but I know that we were talking about Senator Hobson, Briggs Hobson, our appropriation chairman. I 100% trust Briggs Hobson. If he says this is not a good bill because
Then you're a no.
Absolutely.
Then you're a no.
And I know you have people like that too.
Yeah.
So
I know you. Yeah, you feel the same way. I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
you have to trust them
Got
because
some-
you can't
got some
read
that
every word.
If I see a bill that's coming out of their committee, I'm going to read it.
Right. Because you know it's worthy if it's gotten that far.
No.
No?
I'm gonna,
Oh,
There's some.
there's some you're going to read it
I'm
because
gonna read to see what's in it because I want to make sure what's in it.
you don't
Yeah,
quite
there's a few chairmen that
Yeah.
if something comes out of the committee, I'm like you, I'm gonna read every word of that thing. I want to make sure, and I'm gonna talk to other people on that committee if
And
I'm not
understand
on
it.
the committee to make sure that it does exactly what he's saying.
right.
But
So all the bills that I see in our committee
Mm-hmm.
that the chairman's going to take up or whatever, I'm going to go through and read the changes. Okay, I'm just looking for changes, looking for deletions.
Mm-hmm.
That's just skimming it. That's just making sure
Right.
what's there. When it's coming from certain chairmen, I'm going to read the whole bill. I'm going to understand exactly what how the changes make, what they're doing, and all that. So sometimes you
Yeah,
got
just the basis of the bill itself, and then
yeah.
right where it's coming from and why are we doing it?
Right, exactly.
You want to know all the details.
Yeah.
Probably the hardest thing the speaker and the lieutenant governor have to do is to appoint chairmen and committees.
Yeah.
Because first off, he wants to make sure he's got the right people in the right position, but also someone you can totally trust and know that they're not sneaking something in on you, and that they're 100% trustworthy in the fact that they tell you this is what it does and that's what it does. So, and then as far as the committees, the work isn't done on the floor like people think it is. I mean, don't
Right,
get me
it's
wrong,
done
that's
in
where the bill,
committee. Right.
but the committees and subcommittees, that's where all the work's done. And that's when you see someone that looks like they're not paying attention on the floor when they're debating a bill, they're probably not. Because they're over talking to someone about the next bill coming up because of the fact that they've already heard that one maybe 3 years in a row in committee, and they've also
They're on that committee.
and they're on that committee,
Right.
and then plus they may have been the subcommittee chairman or on the subcommittee, so they've already heard it several times. They know exactly what it does. It's not they don't care. Now you'll see those people talk until someone walks up with an amendment, and then they'll shut up. And then they pay attention because then they're trying to change something.
Right.
So
After it's come out of committee.
yeah.
Right.
So the work's done way before it gets on the floor.
Right. That's the sausage part.
So the ones you really worry about is when they bring a bill up. It's got a committee sub on it, and the first thing the chairman does when he brings the bill up is table the committee sub. That means whatever the committee did, he just did away with, and he's doing something different.
Yeah, you got to pay attention then.
Yeah, I was figuring to say that just basically killed the whole language.
Yeah.
The
But-
bill has been gutted.
Yeah.
So they can get ready for a debate.
Right, because everything that happened in the committee is now null and
right.
void.
Yeah.
Then you got to pay attention.
Now we just have a bill title with no language.
Yeah. Well, language is
Or
I
language
mean,
you put in.
and he may not be doing nothing but fixing something in
Right,
it, but
right.
you have to
That's
table
right.
the committee sub. But you got to be paying attention to what's going on with that.
or you'll miss it.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
It's
I've enjoyed this year. It's gone fast. It really
for
has.
you.
Well, we ain't through yet. We're gonna have to.
I know you're not through yet. Yeah, there's one more again that you have to go back and
Oh yeah.
on the session that may be a
And-
month from now.
And like I say, that'll probably be worked out when we get there. They will have already agreed, so they should. At least I hope they have.
I hope so.
They better have.
They will have, right. Hopefully they will.
Yeah.
Or you'll end up with a bunch of debate.
In several days. Our longest, in the middle of the summer though, we had a special session that lasted, I think, 83 days one time. We were there 83 additional days, and that was over tort reform.
That was on tort reform.
Tort
it was
reform.
tort
And I
reform.
think that's been a while back.
It has.
That was a step in the fetch bag.
Yeah, that was a while back.
I think Amy Tuck was the lieutenant governor when we did that.
I'm trying to think how long ago that's
I
actually
remember.
been. That wasn't recent. That's
Oh no,
been way back.
15.
15, 20
That
years.
was that Haley?
Haley Barber was
Was that, or was that Fordyce?
Fordyce.
It may have been Fordyce actually.
I remember
Or
it,
Musgrove.
but it's been a long time ago.
I don't think it'd have been Musgrove.
No, he probably wouldn't have called us back on tort reform. So it sounds more like Haley or Phil.
I used to see him come in church all the time, going to First Jackson. I'd see him come in with his little entourage and,
Yeah.
Musgrove. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, enjoyed every second of it. It's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to, who we bring in as guest. LBO is great. I was talking to David the other day and his wife, and I want to definitely have them in. I think that's one that everybody needs to hear.
Yep.
And then some of our other.
They're probably not going to do it until they get the budget done.
Right. We won't.
Yeah.
We won't cover it right now.
But maybe he can go ahead and get Lieutenant Governor in,
And we'll get the Lieutenant Governor in, and we'll get
Speaker
Jason White in. We'll start getting these folks in that have helped make this sausage all year long, and talk about some of these
Or
accomplishments.
Briggs Hobson and maybe
Yeah.
John Reed.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And the special projects right now on our side, Josh Harkins from Rankin has been helping with the appropriation, not just the finance part. So,
Well, we need to bring him in.
yeah.
We need to bring Josh in, and we'll pivot a little bit to some federal. We'll start talking to our federal folks and see what's going on up there. We haven't checked in on them all year,
Well, we have some good ones there.
so we'll be checking in on them and see how they're doing.
We have some good ones there.
We do. We do.
I'm not saying some of the other states do, but we do.
They have some characters in some of the other
Yeah,
states,
they
that's
do.
for sure. Especially the Senate from the south of Louisiana. That one's a character for real. He always has a colorful little verbiage.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, enjoyed it very much, guys. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Enjoy it.
letting us inform the people during this session as to what's going on.
Very informative. It's wonderful. Anyway, so thank you to these guys. Y'all don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to talk about what's coming up in the city of Pearl this month. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mayor Wyndham, and I'm thrilled to show you the city creating its own future. Pearl is located in Rankin County, the fastest growing county in Mississippi, and there's no question why. Access to great schools, even better shopping, and unbridled beauty make Pearl a town that truly embodies its name. And with a truly exceptional team of first responders, public safety is another key component of our success. With fantastic housing opportunities from quaint suburban neighborhoods to gorgeous lakefront properties, there's a place for you here in Pearl. You can't beat the location. Right outside of Pearl is the crossroads of the South, where Interstate 20 meets Interstate 55. From here you can travel anywhere within the state or the country. Or you can choose to stay right here in Pearl or experience the small town atmosphere, community pride, and heart of the local residents.
Welcome back into This Week in Pearl. Fantastic show. Love those guys. I love them telling us all about what's going on in the legislature, kind of the bills that got passed, really kind of how the sausage is made. It's fantastic catching up with them, and we definitely appreciate their time. A lot of fun really hearing how that's all done. If you're a procedures guy, you kind of like all of that. So enjoy them and thank them very much for coming in and spending some time with us every morning for that. All right, so what's going on in Pearl? Well, starting April the 5th, which was just a couple of days ago, Pearl Parks and Recreation, located there at 320 Center City Drive, has been offering open gym basketball. So if you're just a casual player or want to get some extra practice in, you can go by there. It's free to Pearl residents. Doesn't cost anything. If you're not a Pearl resident, it is $10 per person, but it's open gym basketball there at 320 Center City Drive. Check out the Pearl Parks and Rec page on the cityofpearl.com website for more information, schedule, and guidelines. Also, the Mayor's Easter egg hunt's coming up April the 19th. It's going to be right out here outside the City Hall complex starting at 10 a.m. If you are 9 and under, by all means come out. It's a lot of fun. The kids have a blast. There's all kinds of fun things to do. There's games, prizes, things they can win, as well as hunt Easter eggs. Now, where they have that is between the community center and the library. It's all right there. It's netted off, so kids can't get out in traffic or anything, and it's very well policed. So the kids have a good time. Do it every year. It's a lot of fun. So come out and 9 years and younger, April 19th, starting at 10. Then, for you grown-ups in the room, on April 19th, starting at 6 p.m., is going to be adult night. Now, that's also for the big kid in you. it starts at 6 p.m., City Hall Complex grounds, a little bit north of where I was talking about for the kids. You can have a glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt. So that's going to be kind of fun with glow-in-the-dark Easter eggs. That'll be cool. And then following, you can go do some karaoke. We should have a lot of fun with that on the main stage that night. Bring your appetites. There'll be all kind of concessions. There will be beer available. So this is a 21 and older event sponsored by Pearl Main Street. A lot of fun. It's going to be a good night. Also coming up, April 26th, Pearl Day. It's an all-day event starting in our city park. Starts at 10 a.m. There's going to be all kind of food vendors, crafts, arts, all the usual things that you see at Pearl Day will be out there in our city park. It's a wonderful event. It's great for the kids. It's great for mom who wants to go out and do some early shopping for things, especially in the craft booths that are there. These are all wonderful items that you just can't go in any store and get. So you definitely want to go out and check that out. There will be live music in the park that'll happening. Big Earl will be playing. I think he starts at 10. And then our very own Zach Bridges, I remember him. He was a finalist on The Voice. He will be performing at 2. And then I believe at after that, I believe at 4 o'clock, there will be Pearl Jams performing. Then, once all that ends, make your way over to Trustmark Park. Gates open at 5:30, the north side of Trustmark Park. It will be the Pearl Day concert. Will be Bret Michaels, the frontman of Poison. He will be here, and opening for him is Warrant. So all of us Gen Xers out there that grew up to all of that, they will be performing April 26th. Well, folks, I've enjoyed the Under the Dome segments first half of the year. Stay tuned, because as we move into the spring and summer, we will be bringing in our federal legislatures as well as agency heads from all around the state. So don't go anywhere. Continue to tune in right here on PMB as we bring you more from your elected officials. Thank you, and until next time, we'll see you next week. Have a good week.